Being fun? What, Sarjana? Thank you. All right. So before we get started, we'll just leave another minute for people to join. I'm sure as Srijana is casting out her messages on social media, people will be like, oh yeah, that's right now. So thank you, Srijana, for putting out that message. Yeah, we'll just give it another minute before we introduce our speakers and get started. All right, I think if it's okay, Srijana, I'll get started. I am beyond thrilled to have this presentation today. I'm so excited to welcome Kristoffer Toribio and Pema Laden. I know I didn't say the H just right, but Pema, thank you for joining us. So Kristoffer is the Assistant Director of Global Engagement at Orange Coast College in California, and Pema is an alumni of OCC and has recently, we'll find out more when you speak, transferred to another university. And the topic of community colleges in the US is one that I think is so valuable for our group of students. And I just really cannot wait to learn more and help our students and parents who have gathered tonight to learn more about this opportunity. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kristoffer and go from here. We'll leave some time for questions at the end as usual. If you ever need to put anything in the chat, please feel free. And I'll turn it over to you, Kristoffer. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Melissa, so much for this wonderful opportunity. It's such an honor to be here today. And again, my name is Kristoffer Toribio. I'm from Orange Coast College, which is a two-year community college in Costa Mesa, California. And today's topic is talking about community colleges, what they are and what they serve. And we also have a very unique opportunity. We have a special guest, our alumnus Pema from Bhutan. She's here on the screen, so if you want to wave real quick. So how this is going to work is that I'm going to do just a quick presentation about an overview of community colleges, and I'll turn it over to Pamela to talk about her journey studying in the United States, specifically at a community college. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so the title of today's presentation is the 2+2 Formula Community Colleges. So again, if this is my contact information, if you have any questions after this, feel free to message me at any time. So community colleges are typically called the 2+2 formula. And what does that actually mean? And what is a community college? Okay. Now, community college is a very unique system of higher education in the United States. In fact, not many countries have the system of education, but community colleges specialize in two-year undergraduate programs, okay? So year one and year two. Now, the 2+2, the second part of the two is transferring to a university to complete your bachelor's degree. So 2 years at a community college and 2 years at a university, okay? Again, if they're very common in the United States, in fact, 50% of American students will begin their undergraduate studies at a two-year community college. And actually, there's about 96,000 international students studying at a community college right now. So basically, students, when they enroll, we do not require the SAT or the ACT. They just apply to the community college, complete year one and year two, which is basically the same first 2 years of education that you'll do at a university. Then you'll transfer to a university to complete your bachelor's degree. Okay. Now you do earn a credential when you attend a community college or you complete your studies called an associate's degree. An associate's degree is your 2-year undergraduate degree, which Pamela also earned. And then you can transfer to university, or you can take a gap year to do what's called OPT, called optional practical training. Optional practical training allows students to work for 1 year after their program of study. So it's an opportunity for you to get a job in something that is related to your degree. take that gap year, go to university, finish your last 2 years, earn your bachelor's degree, and the added bonus is that you can do OPT again because you get to do it after every degree level. Okay. Now, what is the point in all of this? Why do we have community colleges in the United States? And why do so many international students take advantage of this opportunity? If there's really one word to describe community colleges, it's access. And that is the fundamental basic philosophy of US education, that US education is accessible. We give an opportunity for anybody who wants to pursue higher education, whether you are a US student or an international student. So we provide access through community college through 2-year undergraduate programs, open enrollment, meaning that we don't require a lot for students to enroll at our school. And also the biggest added benefit is that it's low cost in tuition and fees. As US education can be pricey, community colleges can cut your costs down significantly. Okay. I also wanted to highlight that the pictures in my presentation are all international students at OCC, and these photos were taken by our international students. I wanted to put that out there, that we have who walks through our doors. Many talented students walk through our doors. We have so much diversity at the community colleges, educating students with pursuing so many different types of degree programs and majors. And here's an example of one of our international students from Mongolia. He actually took all these photos. So I just wanted to put that out there. But community college fast facts. So let me just give you a little bit more context of the scale of community colleges throughout the impact for international students. So again, at peak enrollment, we had about 96,000 international students enrolled. That comprises about 7.3% of the total number of international students in the United States. And roughly out of the 122 Bhutanese students in the US, 10 are currently studying at US community colleges. Now, that doesn't seem a lot, actually, but that's actually a really good number. And and for context, we're so happy to have Pema here, one of the very few students, from Bhutan studying at community colleges. But the number is growing. There seems to be a lot more interest throughout the world. But community colleges also have really good international student representation. Okay, now let's understand the transfer process. Okay, so again, community colleges is 2 + 2, 2 years with us, 2 years at a university. I really want to normalize this process, that every university in the United States will take a transfer student. In fact, when you look at an admission website, look at both the freshman. Freshman means that you're entering after high school or secondary school, or transfer, where you're transferring from another community college or university. These are very common pathways. In fact, I'm the product of a community college. I went to community college first before transferring to a university. Okay, but again, you can transfer anywhere. The big part about access is the fact that your transfer is based on what you completed at the community colleges and nothing that you did beforehand. Okay, so remember that. You will transfer based on your marks from my school or a community college, and not what you did prior to coming to the community college. We have a thing called course articulation equivalency. What basically that means is that universities have recognized that the classes that we offer are equivalent to what they offer. So for example, our chemistry class is the same chemistry class at the university. So that's what that basically means. Okay, and again, very common transfer, look at both. You'll often find that the transfer admission requirements for a university is less selective than applying as a first-year student. Okay, now, is a community college a really good fit for you? Okay, I actually believe it's a good fit for all. Every student can benefit from a community college. Okay, but what I typically tell students is do a college readiness assessment. How ready are you to enroll and apply to a university in the United States specifically? Are you academically competitive to the school that you want to go to? Do you meet the English requirement for the school that you want to go to? Is the school asking for a whole list of other things that is not offered to you, such as extracurricular activities or leaderships? If you fall short of the admission requirement to apply as a first-year student, and you want to go to that school specifically, a community college might be a really good fit. Look at your financial capacity, how much you're able to afford coming to the US. And you might also want to look at your scholarship offers too. One of the main reasons why many of our international students come, that despite earning a scholarship from a university, a community college without a scholarship is ultimately more affordable for the student. And we have a lot of different, I have a lot of different examples of that. Okay. And also, have you decided on your major? Now, community colleges offer a lot of programs. You can basically study anything, but if you're unsure what you want to study, and that's actually a very unique thing in the US too. You can come to the US without having a major, okay? But it's a lot more affordable to do it at the community colleges, so you can come and explore with us. Okay. All right, so there's about 941 community colleges in the US that comprises of 1/4 of the total number of colleges and universities in the US. So how do you choose a community college? I think this is really important. Look at your general interests. What are you interested in studying? Not all of us offer the same majors and programs. In fact, we have specialized majors. One of our specialized majors at OCC is our marine biology student. So this is why this particular student chose OCC. The location, the US is a big country. So where do you want to study? Most important two things that you have to consider is the accreditation. Okay. Accreditation basically means that it's recognized. And if it's accredited, that means the universities are also recognizing the community college and the work that you completed there. And the most important thing is that the school has really robust and dedicated international student support. As an international student in the US, you're going to have a lot of different situations that you'll come across, and also different needs specific to international students. Many of our international students have never been to the US before, so we provide additional support services to get them acclimated. But we love our international students, so look for a school that can provide dedicated support for international students, because again, you have very specific needs. Now, what is it like to study at a community college? Well, I use 3 words. We're comprehensive. We basically offer anything. So whatever university offers for the first 2 years of your undergraduate program, we most likely have it. And we actually have a lot of specialized majors too. So for example, at OCC, you can pursue your captain's license for yachting and sailing. We have that. So that's very unique to our school as well. Supportive, focus on student success and undergraduate teaching. Our professors teach the classes. Grad students do not teach the classes, and oftentimes you'll find at a community college that the class sizes are a lot smaller. Okay. And again, we have everything. We're holistic in nature. We have clubs, athletics, on-campus housing, research opportunities, and honors. So we have everything at a community college. And I think it's really of what you make of your experience at our institution, but you just have a wide range of things that you can pursue with us. Okay. Now I'm going to shift to talk about specifically the California community colleges. Okay, now the California community colleges. So if you're unfamiliar, California is the state west of the US. Okay, it's one of the biggest states, but we also have the largest system of public higher education in the United States and possibly the world. In fact, the California community colleges comprise of 115 community colleges in our state. We educate 2.5 million students a year, and we offer 400,000 classes each year as well. Now that seems like a lot of students, but that means the average class size is about 21 students. So, put that in perspective real quick. Our public universities in California, in fact, 50% of those students going to the public universities in our state are transfers from the California community colleges. Now, again, the community colleges bring in very unique people as well. So I really wanted to highlight the impact of community colleges in many different areas and sectors and industries. And this is some of our most notable alumnus. If you ever watched the movie Star Wars, George Lucas is an alumnus of a community college in California. The actor Tom Hanks also went to a community college in California. If you have an iPhone, the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, was a student at a community college. In fact, Steve Wozniak, his partner and the co-founder of Apple, went to De Anza College, and they went to college together at a community college. A lot of actresses and musicians went to community colleges as well. Here's a couple of examples. Gabrielle Union. If you know Katy Perry, she also went to community college. The movie director, John Singleton. Our famous alumnus at OCC is the fashion designer, Paul Frank. You've probably seen his designs before. The monkey. I actually have a story about that. he was a former student at OCC. He was just bored one day in class, just doodling, and he came up with this design. It became global. Okay. He sold his company and now he teaches fashion at our school. So the California community colleges also have the best and brightest professors teaching with us as well. And oftentimes you'll find that you'll have the same professors at the community colleges as the universities nearby. And the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the former governor of California also went to a community college. Now, this is just a short list of many of our successful alumni. You don't have to be a famous person to be successful, but I just wanted to highlight the scope of the impact the community colleges in California has done for the rest of the world. Okay. Now, I can go into this a little bit more in detail about the California transfer process. So we have two major public universities in California, the University of California, which Pema is currently attending right now as a transfer student, and the California State University system. So basically what these agreements mean is that you're guaranteed admission based on your minimum score. And also with the ADT, the associate's degree for transfer, is if you complete the associate's degree, you're guaranteed transfer to a California State University. Now, remember this, it is really difficult to not transfer. Okay, again, it is really difficult to not transfer. And it's because we have all these transfer agreements to ensure that students have a place to go after they transfer. This is our student right here, former student, Danny. She's from Brazil. She was our student body president, actually really involved in leadership. We have a program with UCLA. It's called the Transfer Alliance Program. And she was admitted to UCLA through this transfer program, but she decided not to go there. She went to the University of Toronto instead. So even though we don't have these transfer agreements with other universities, you can transfer anywhere, including outside the United States. Now, with the University of California, you can see the admission rates for transfer are way higher than the freshmen. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, the most important thing is the cost of attendance, and it's pretty significant in terms of how much students can save. And again, US universities can be expensive, but by attending a community college alone, a lot of our students are able to save about $70,000 in the tuition and fees, depending where they go. Okay. Now, again, you still have that opportunity to do the optional practical training before you transfer, right? So that is an opportunity for you to make some money to offset a lot of the costs that you spent at the community colleges as well. This information is all relative. Affordability is a relative term. But one of the things that we focus at OCC is helping students find an academic and financial fit. So we do connect with a lot of universities that offer significant financial aid and scholarships for transfer students. And I have a lot of examples of that in my upcoming slide. Okay. So that is an overview of community colleges and the California community college system. I'm going to segue now to talk a little bit about OCC, as it will segue to talk about to Pema talking about her experience at her school. And here she is actually. So Orange Coast College, we have a saying at our school. It's called "It's cooler at Coast." So I'm going to tell you why we're cool, okay, and who we are as an institution. Now, Orange Coast College is one of the largest community colleges in California. We educate 22,000 students from 1,000 international students from 85 different countries. And I think what makes us very unique is that we're very comprehensive. We offer 135 different majors, and our international students have transferred to nearly 115 universities every single year. But the opportunities that we have at OCC is endless. We have honors programs, we have residential life. In fact, you can live on campus at OCC. That's also very unique, but you make your story your own. And I think that's really important. And to look at the story of community colleges through the lens of our students. And here are 4 really good examples of students who came to community college from outside of their country and really succeeded. Enzo right here from Brazil is now a filmmaker. He was a film student at OCC. Daniela right here, she transferred to Columbia University, which is an Ivy League university in New York. She was able to receive, some financial aid to cover those expenses. And if you really want to know what it's like to be at a community college, subscribe to my student's YouTube channel. His name is Nan. He has a lot of really great video content of what it's like to be an international student, and also transferring to a university, which he earned a full financial aid and academic scholarship to Texas Christian University. So we really do help and support our students. And I don't want to babble too much about our institution because you're going to have an opportunity to hear about what it's like to study at OCC through Pema. So Pema, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and also talk about your story at OCC. And I will probably, if needed, I will have some questions to kind of help you guide through this. So Pema, take it away. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the organization for having me and letting me talk about my experience. Firstly, a little bit about me. My name is Malissa. I went to Ugin Academy for my high school, and then I graduated back in 2016. After that, I came to Southern California and then attended Orange Coast College. And I graduated from Orange Coast College back in 2020. So I'm currently in my last year of completing my bachelor's at University of California, Irvine. My major is psychological science and my minor is sociology. So I first learned about Orange Coast College through my relatives who live here. They basically recommended that I go to Orange Coast College. And at first I didn't know what a community college was because I obviously thought it was just a 4-year college that everybody goes to after high school, like in Bhutan, but no, it was a little bit different, but I loved my experience at OCC. So firstly, I'll be talking about some of the advantages of going to a community college, from a student's perspective. I think that applying to a community college is a great idea, especially when transitioning from Bhutan, because it gives you time to adapt and adjust to the education system here in the United States, because it is really different. It is different from our education system, obviously, and it's college. So it gives you time to adjust. Honestly, getting into a good 4-year university, directly from Bhutan, it will be a little bit difficult. It will be harder, unless Mr. Toribio said that your grades are exceptional, and then you have the extracurricular credits that you need for the universities here. So it'd be a little bit harder to get into a 4-year university straight out of Bhutan. So going to a community college first and then taking your time researching about all these different universities there that is here, and then the courses they provide, and planning ahead will give you much higher chances of getting into a good 4-year universities. Also, community colleges, they are much more affordable compared to a university. It saves you a lot of time by you're basically taking the same classes that you would at a university. So you're taking the GED classes, general education classes at a community college rather than taking it at a university. And you're basically paying less, much less than you would at a university by taking the same exact classes. So that's a great way to save money, because universities here are really expensive, really, really expensive. And also, if you're not sure about what you want to study when you first come here, community college is a great way to experiment it, because you can take different classes. They offer tons of classes and majors, and you would see once you come here, there are so many options that you have never thought about when we were in Bhutan and stuff like those. So yeah, you can experiment with different classes and see what you might be interested in. And it is also very common for people to change their major once they're in college, because when you first pick your major, you don't necessarily know what the classes are going to be like. So for example, before I came here, I thought I was going to major in accounting, but I was very wrong, because I took my first intro to psychology class at OCC, and then I was really interested in it. I was I've never heard, we don't have psychology classes or anything like that in Bhutan. So I was really interested in it. And I took more classes to experiment, let me see if I like psychology or not. So I did, and that's how I decided on majoring psychology. So yeah, and also the other thing is it is much easier for you to change your major when you're in a community college rather than at a 4-year university, because obviously once you start declare your major, you're going to take classes related to a major. So if you change your major once you're at the four-year university, you'd have to like take more classes, and that means you are going to have like more, you're going to pay more for the thing, and it's also would be a waste of your time. So community college is a great way to figure that out. So yeah, there's a lot of options, and it's okay. And one thing I want to say is like, it's okay if you don't know what you want to major in like right away from high school. You will figure like you will see a lot of stuff. There's a that's a great question. Some common misconceptions about community college. I think the first stigma that I learned about community college was that people think that those people who go to community colleges, they're either like they did not get into a good university, like for a university, so basically means that you're not as smart as people who went to a four-year university like straight out of high school. Or the other one is like, yeah, the financial problems. So I think those are the two main stigmas that people have about community colleges. But I would say like the stigma about what is that? The stigma about people not getting into a four-year university is dying down, because now they're starting to figure out that it is so much easier. Like you can save so much money by going to a community college first. And like I said earlier, you're basically taking the same classes. So those people who graduate from community college, they're basically like, most of them would be debt free by the time they graduate. Like, so yeah, I think many people like now are like starting to go to a community college first and then transferring to a four-year university. And the financial difficulties, yeah, I would say like most people, not all people can afford going to a university here. It is really expensive. So it's basically just a good financial decision that you would be making. And yeah, Sheldon Cooper, he's a genius. So he could obviously go to a four-year university right away. So now I'll be, does community college accepts MA students, or is it only for undergraduate? I'm not sure about that. If Mr. Toribio would like to
Yeah, let me go
answer
ahead
that.
and answer that question. So community colleges, again, we only offer undergraduate programs, but one misconception about community college is that it's only for undergraduate students. We actually have a lot of students wanting to pursue their master's degree, but they come to community college first. And the reason why is that for some master's programs, there's some class or course gaps that you need to complete. And oftentimes the university graduate program will recommend that you take those undergraduate classes at a community college. One, it's accessible, you just have to enroll. And number two, it's cheaper. And oftentimes there are students who think they want a master's degree, but that's not really what they're looking for. So for example, I often have students who want to change their careers after the undergraduate degree, and they think they need a master's degree for that. But you can come to community college and do your 2-year certificate degree or your associate's program. A really good example is our aviation program, for example. So for example, there are students who already earned a bachelor's degree and they want to become a pilot. Instead of going through the whole 4-year process again, we offer a flight school, so you can go ahead and just get your pilot's license. Another example is our film program. Students who want to study film think they have to get a master's degree after their bachelor's degree. Our programs are employable after your associate's degree because we focus on film production. So really explore different types of majors. And again, anybody can really benefit from a community college. So if you are looking for a master's degree, definitely go to the university first. But if they come back and say that you have some gaps, maybe consider enrolling at a community college before you transfer there.
Thank you. So now I'll be talking about some of the things that I liked about Orange Coast College. The first is obviously diversity. There are lots of international students from many countries, and they're people of different ages and of people of different backgrounds and things. But the first I first came to know about, like, I didn't know that people like could attend a college classes. Like, I think I was taking a music class, and then there I saw like older gentleman. He was probably in his 60s who was taking the class, and I was a little bit surprised. I was like, what is he doing here? And then after that, I like learned like community colleges, like the classes and stuff like those. So yeah, you'll meet people of different ages, different backgrounds, and like lots of from different countries. It was actually like one of my biggest fear, like coming here. I was like, what if I don't like fit in? Like, what if I like feel out of place? Because like when you watch like the Hollywood movies and stuff like those, you don't really see many Asian people in colleges. Like they don't have that media attention. So I was like worried about that. But if you are worrying about that, don't worry, because there are a lot of Asian people here and like a lot of different international students. The other thing about Orange Coast College is the quality of education. The quality of education is really, really good. In fact, like most people here, from what I've heard, they like compare it to a four-year university. And there's always like, I always hear stuff about like Orange Coast College, like transitioning into a four-year university, which is not true, but that's like how we know that the quality of education at Orange Coast College is really good. And then the professors, they are great. They're very, very helpful, and they encourage you to participate in classes, and they're always like open to answer your questions, be it in class or their office hours. One difference that I noticed about professors in a community college and a university is that in universities, most of the professors, they're like teaching, and at the same time they're doing their research programs, like research too. So they don't really have like time like professor at a community college would. So if you want to like interact directly with the professor, it's like at a university you'd have to do it in class, or else they would like most of the time divert you to a graduate student, like which is a teaching assistant graduate student. So yeah, at a community college, like they are there to help you, like you can interact directly with the professors, and the OCC professors, they're really helpful. There are other resources on campus that can provide like services, like if you're struggling with your academics and stuff. There are services that can help you with either write essays, like they can help you go through it, and then like there's also like tutors for math. So if you're struggling at math, they can help you with it. Another resource that I utilized when I was at OCC is the International Center and the Transfer Center. So International Center is where you go to if you need help like with your visa, and then like your like anything regarding your international status. And the Transfer Center, it was really helpful to me. Like you have to start your transfer process like a year earlier than a year before you actually transfer. So they were really helpful. They can help you choose and like even narrow down the universities that you want to go to. So like they would match you with universities, like where they will give you like a bunch of lists of universities that provide the majors that you're interested in. So from there you can like choose, and you'd have to like apply to a bunch of colleges because you never know which one's going to accept you or not. So they also hold many workshops and helpful information events. So yeah, and now going on to like the fun part, these are some of the things that I like living in Southern California. The first one is the weather. It is sunny like 90% of the time here, and I love it. Like there is no change in the weather or nothing, but the one thing is that you might miss rain if you're here, because it only rains like a few times a year, and I'm not joking. So, but when it does, it makes you appreciate the rain more. Like I never thought that I would miss rain when I was in Bhutan because of the monsoon season and everything, but you would really miss the rain once you're here. And the other thing is the ocean and the sunset. The skies here are so beautiful, especially in the evening, and I love it. Like the ocean is really close. Like if you come here, you can go to the beach anytime you want. So walking on the beach, and then like sometimes I like to, like if you look closely, you would see like dolphins jumping out of the ocean and stuff. So it's really pretty at night. I mean, walking on the beach. So, and the other big thing is Disneyland. As you guys might know, it is like the happiest place on earth. And it is literally about 20 minutes away from Orange Coast College without traffic. So it's very close to where you would be studying if you go to OCC, but it's like one of the truly the happiest place, I would say. I went there a couple of times and I don't think I would get enough of it anytime soon. The other famous tourist, it's basically a tourist attraction, but I'm pretty sure most of you have heard or seen the famous Hollywood sign. I think there's a picture on the, oh yeah, the Hollywood sign. That's the picture I took, but it's about an hour away from where we are right now. I think it's about an hour. Yeah, maybe it might be a little bit more, but it's there. It's like, it's just fun. I've like, as you guys might have seen, like it's always in the movies and stuff like those. So it's really interesting. It's just a sign, but still it gives you like, it makes you like, oh, hey, I've seen that, you know. And one of the last thing that I like about Orange Coast, Southern California is the Corgi Beach Day. If you guys look at the picture, you'd see two Corgi Beach Day. It is, I don't know if you guys know this breed, but they're called corgis and they are adorable. They are so cute. So every year they organize this Corgi Beach Day where all the people that has like corgis and stuff, they come together and then like they dress up their dogs, they dress up their corgis, like as you can see, they're like, I don't know if they're Superman or something, but they just compete for the best dressed. And then like most of the time they're very creative and talented. Like people would dress up there was this one time where the person had like 3 corgis and they were in like a claw machine. So they were like trying to pick the corgis up and stuff, but it was so cute. So yeah, that is like one of the events that I go to every year and I love it.
Hey, Pema,
Yeah.
I have a corgi.
Oh my God, you do?
I've taken it to the Corgi Beach Day.
there's like 2 corgis that live down like my neighbors downstairs. They have 2 corgis and oh my God, they're so cute. I love them.
I'll bring him to campus one day so you can meet him for sure.
Oh my God, yes, I love them. I love corgis. So yeah, that concludes my presentation. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
I did have a couple of questions. One was saying, is community college like a diploma program that we have in Bhutan, Pema?
Diploma program. I'm not sure. What's a diploma program?
Okay, if Betchin, if you want to clarify in the chat, I'll look for that. The other question was, I did a 3-year course in Bhutan. Can I study additional 1 year in community college so as to get admission for a master's since unis only accept the 4-year course?
Good question, Uttam. So it really depends on the university. So what I would recommend that you do is that shortlist your master's degree programs that you want to study at and ask them what you can do to fulfill that gap. And typically, yes, students can go to community college to complete that 4th year of study. Hopefully there are a lot more universities now that are accepting the 3-year degree for their undergraduate, but for California, they don't, unfortunately. So, community college is a very common pathway for students to go to for 1 year, then transfer to their master's degree program.
I didn't know that. That's good to know, actually. There was a good question for Pema. Were there any drawbacks when you were applying for a U.S. student visa as a prospective community college student? So maybe, I guess also I would tag on to that, like, as you're looking to move from Bhutan to OCC, like you had your family built in, but maybe explain a little bit about your visa process and if that was challenging or helpful to have family. Not that you need family to have a visa, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, for me, getting a student visa was very easy. Like, I think student visas are much easier to get, like compared to any other visa. So I don't think you would have any problem unless like, if you can prove like you're really going to study here. And then like the first thing is you would need acceptance letter from Orange Coast College, like a community college, before you apply. So if you have that, and then like if you show them like your, I'm pretty sure you have to give them like a bank statement, or like where it proves that you can afford it. So yeah, as long as you have those, I think it's like really straightforward and easier to get the student visa.
Okay.
And it really helps like if you have somebody here, like
Okay.
yeah.
I have two questions. One, Pema, for your OPT, like your work, it doesn't sound like you have taken your work experiences yet. And I was also going to ask you for your living situation, like were you able to live with your family, or do you have friends who lived on campus? What a just kind of two-part question, living and then also the OPT work for you.
So yeah, I did not do my OPT yet. So that's my plan. Like after I graduate, like I graduate in June. So I'm gonna apply, I'm gonna have to apply for OPT and then like get that a year experience here. So yeah. And as for living, yes, I do live with my relatives here. And then like when I was going to OCC, they did not have the housing yet, like they did not have the dorms yet. So unfortunately, I could not stay on campus, but now they do. And then it looks really good. Like I'm pretty sure like if you guys come here, then you can directly apply for the housing there. But so yeah.
Cool. Great. Other than a Corgi Beach Day, are there any other questions?
So if I clarify what a diploma program is, because I think Bichin is not online or he's gone somewhere. So it's basically a short 2-year course, which is very skill based, usually like a vocational course, 2 years, 18 months to 24 months. And the admission usually happens like after your 10th grade. So instead of going for 11 and 12 high school, you can do a diploma course. So I think Dishen is asking if it's similar. Say.
Good question. Is the content of the diploma program more like technical or vocational in curriculum?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good question. Okay, so two-part question. It's actually not. So community colleges are two things. It's university study. So you are technically a university student while you are studying at a community college. And the technical and vocational programs that we do offer at OCC or community college is considered higher education. So it's not secondary school. It is something that you pursue after high school or as an adult. So it's not equivalent to a diploma program. It is considered pursuing higher education.
Yeah.
We have a question about admissions of, I can go ahead and answer that if that's okay. Are community colleges applications on a rolling basis or are there a specific time period? Community colleges are rolling, so we take applications and we process them as they come in. We have 3 application intakes typically. So you can enroll either the fall, spring, or summer, and so forth. And one thing about community college applications, we're very flexible. So we have later deadlines than most universities. And the rule of thumb at OCC is that you can apply up to 6 weeks before the start of the school year. Let me go back to the diploma program. I just thought about something real quick. Now, for example, for a lot of countries, when you're enrolled in a technical type of program in high school, it limits your options to go to an academic program if you want to. Now, community colleges actually break that barrier. So oftentimes we have students who pursue a technical degree or the technical diploma in high school, but they can still enroll at a community college, take academic programs, change their course of study, and ultimately go to a university to complete their bachelor's degree. So that is a way for you to pursue academic studies if you don't have that qualification after high school because of the curriculum that you've taken in high school.
The last question is there community college to do a master? I think that just means to say like a master's degree. And I mean, Kristoffer, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the answer is no. I think usually community colleges are just for that 2-year associate's degree or other, further individual classes, or you need gaps in your education and coursework. They are there for that purpose. I, as an American student, I didn't attend a community college full-time as an undergrad, but I did take summer classes. My twin brother also took summer classes at our local community college. Just it really helped to ease the burden of taking a full load, and also is very cost effective. So I will say that's definitely was just a really viable, helpful option. Sometimes when you're a student, a full-time college student in the US, sometimes you have a community college where you can take advantage of specialized classes or training programs that, traditional four-year universities just might not be able to offer. So it is definitely a great resource to look into. Kristoffer, the average tuition for community college, I could
sure.
but yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that very broadly. So community colleges can range anywhere for international students, you keep this in mind, around $5,000 a year up to about $9,000 a year. So it just really depends on the school that you enroll at. OCC is roughly about $7,000 to $8,000 a year in tuition and fees. But we charge per credit hour. So it's not your enrolling, we don't charge one flat rate. It's based on the amount of classes that you enroll in. The total cost of attendance. So you also have to consider when you're applying for a visa that you need to demonstrate that you have the funds that the university or the college is requesting that you have, to demonstrate to the US Embassy that you have the funds to support yourself in your first year. So that includes your tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, and your health insurance, which is mandatory. Community colleges can range anywhere from about $18,000 a year to about $28,000. It just really depends. OCC is about right in the middle.
I think Tinley, I think that's a really good question. That was something on my mind too. What are some opportunities? Maybe Pema, you've had some friends. I know Kristoffer, you've seen probably plenty of students, but I was also thinking some opportunities for the associate degree for OPT, but also maybe as a way to stop and earn money and then continue going to college. So I don't know if either one of you has maybe some feedback on that path, even though Pema, you went straight through to finish your degree.
I don't really have experience with that, and my friends, they also went directly to a university, so I'm not sure how to answer that.
Yeah, doing OPT is relatively common for many of our students, and they pursue different types of job opportunities. But the caveat is it has to be related to the program that you graduated from. So for example, I have a student, he was a biology major, and he's currently doing his OPT as a paramedic. So that's also really unique that he wanted to pursue, because his goal eventually is to go to medical school. You can also start your own business. That is actually a form of OPT. So I do notice that a lot of our business majors, they're kind of entrepreneur in a sense, and they make money off of their own business. We have a social media strategist degree program. So a lot of our students will use their social media as a way to make revenue during that gap year. Fashion is also a major that we offer at OCC. Many of our students will pursue some sort of fashion degree program, interior design to architecture. Yeah, so the opportunities are limitless. Well, you have to find these opportunities on your own though. So it's not something that we give you the work authorization, but you have to apply to a job like you apply to any other job. But a lot of our program and a lot of our professors specifically are industry professionals. So they have a lot of insight and leads in where you can find opportunities for your OPT. And that's where typically a lot of our students will find those opportunities.
That's good. Good to know.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. We'll leave just another second. If anybody has any last minute questions, you could either unmute yourself or just type them in the chat. But I think this has been such a helpful conversation. I've learned a lot.
I have a question for Pema, actually. So Pema,
Ooh.
okay, a really important question. Now, you're graduating this year from UC Irvine. What do you want to do after your degree? I know you want to do OPT, but what is your ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal for after I graduate?
Yeah, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? I know that's kind of a big question.
So far, I've only thought about obviously getting a work experience before, like, for during that OPT year. So I would get a job somewhere where it deals with children. So I want to go into a mental health field where it deals with children. So I want to do that. And then after that OPT year, I'm planning on applying for my master's. So that will take up another 2-3 years.
And Pema, just FYI, because your major is psychological sciences, you might want to talk to your advisor about this, but it's considered STEM. I believe you have 3 years of OPT after your degree. So you might want to look into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for example, for students who pursue the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, I know psychology is falling into that. I think that's why your major is called psychological sciences. You get an extension of 3 years OPT. So something you might want to look to as well if you're pursuing the STEM programs.
That is so helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Kristoffer,
I have
this
to
changed your
start
life.
in March. I'm sorry. Oh yes, you did.
Changed your life.
You did. Something
We
much
have
more easy.
one final question and then we'll close the session, but and it's a good question. If there's any type of financial aid offered, or is it just kind of the price is what you see, or any type of aid that students should be aware of?
That's a good question. I'm going to be very upfront with that. Community colleges don't offer financial aid for international students. So please be in mind, if you're looking at this option, that you have to have full funding when you apply. There's some community colleges that do offer scholarships, but most community colleges only offer scholarships for continuing students. So OCC does have generous scholarships, but you have to complete at least one semester before you apply. So just make sure, have an honest conversation with your family, what your financial capabilities are. And again, community colleges range from different price points, but very unlikely that you'll find full financial aid at a community college. So always have this in the back of your mind though. When you get scholarship offers from other universities, compare. Just because we might not offer financial aid and scholarships, ultimately our offer will be cheaper. And that's been the story for a lot of our students. But to answer your question, unfortunately, no, community colleges typically do not offer financial aid for international students.
Can you work on campus or in the local area, like a part-time job?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I wish I hired Pamela as my student assistant because she was pretty spot on the visa advice. So that was really good. Yes, you can work on campus up to 19 hours a week, and we pay $15 an hour.
Wow, so students can work up to 19 hours a week on campus.
Correct. Yeah, during the regular semester when school's in
Wow.
session. When school's not in session, like summertime, if the students are not enrolled, they can work up to 28 hours a week.
What? That's amazing. Wow, that's really good to know. And
I was
we
making
say,
like $5 an hour in college, so $15 is quite a big jump.
can we, now we won't hold you to this, Kristoffer, but can I just wrap this up by saying that the next Bhutanese student who comes to OCC has first dibs on your assistant position?
Absolutely.
It's on record, people. Go
It's
to
on record.
OCC. You have a job. I'm kidding. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending. Kristoffer, Pema, this is amazing that you woke up. They got on this call at 4:50 in the morning. So take a nap, get some rest, walk your corgi. Pema, maybe you can start a corgi costume business if things don't work out. That sounds lucrative, but thank you so much to both of you and for everyone for joining and hopefully tuning in and maybe sharing this when we put it on YouTube with your friends and family who might want to learn more about community college. It's such an amazing opportunity that I think students can consider. So thank you so much to both of you and everyone for coming.
Yes, I was really surprised, like when Mr. Kristoffer Toribio emailed me about this, because I did not know about like any resources that I could access before coming to the United States. So I was really excited. I was like, oh yeah, sure. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We're trying really hard to just spread the information through webinars like this and being available to students for questions. And so yeah, we really hope that we're able to long-term just build a program for students to use and gain more information. So thank you guys so much. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.